It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show. There's a reason rappers can turn any story into a hit track. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm with over 1,000 attorneys and more than 100 offices nationwide. If you've been seriously injured in an accident, your case could be worth millions. But the truth is, a lot of people either don't file at all or get taken advantage of by insurance companies. When you hire Morgan & Morgan, it's like hiring a legal army that has your back. If you're injured because of someone else's negligence, you deserve to be paid. No shortcuts, no lowball offers. In fact, they've secured some major verdicts in the past. For example, in Florida, they got a victim who was in a life-altering car crash, $12 million. 34 times the highest insurance offer. They got another victim in Philadelphia, $26 million. 40 times the highest insurance offer. Not all law firms are created equal. Morgan & Morgan is the biggest for a reason. They will fight for the biggest award possible and have won a lot. So if you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless you win. That's right, no upfront costs. They only get paid if you get paid. You can start your claim now by clicking the link in the description or by scanning the QR code on screen from your phone's camera. Again, if you find yourself injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Don't say I never told you nothing, man. What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody is doing well out there this evening. In this show, we're going to be getting into the remnants of this whole Megan Thee Stallion, Milagro Gramz situation. Of course, the verdict was set yesterday. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't necessarily account for what the aftermath would look like in terms of social media, in terms of, post-trial interviews, commentary coming from perhaps Milagro. Last night, she got on Armon Wiggins' platform, conducted an interview, took questions from Armon, took questions from, Dennis Bryan. We're going to get into some of that interview in this video. It has been edited for time because we're not just going to sit here and watch Armon's whole video. You can go over there and check it out if you haven't already seen it. But we will get into some of the conversation regarding that. But before we get into that, all right, I just want to say real quick, for those that been liking these Dad Gang hats, you know what I'm saying? Y'all be liking them joints. They're having a $20 Tuesday for today only. All right. So all the hats on the website, dadgang.co. You can go check those out. $20 a pop. You can also use my promo code, which is down in the description, and you can even get discount on that $20. Typically, these are around $35 to $40. So, do what you will with that information. I'm not telling you to do nothing, just offering it to you. Family over Fame gear is also available in my shop. Holiday season. Hey, man, get laced. All right. But before we get into opinions and all of that stuff, I do want to get to what took place after the verdict hit yesterday. We've got statements from Megan Thee Stallion. We've got statements from Megan Thee Stallion's legal team, and we have statements from Milagro's legal team. We're going to get into that. The judge has put in her final verdict at this point. We're going to read that, which even with that final verdict, there's still more to come. I know everybody wants to have answers immediately, but unfortunately, that's just not the way this process works. Therefore, we will have to stay alert to what is to come next. All right. This has not been fully resolved, although we do know that Milagro is held liable, but to which degree we're about to get into. All right. So first thing, Milagro's legal team came out and issued a statement as everybody was asking questions. I think they kind of jumped the gun a bit, but no surprise there. So here's what they had to say. For immediate release from Acelia Law Firm, press release. Miami-Dade County, Florida. While many outlets are reporting that Ms. Cooper was found liable for defamation, the final judgment of the court is that Ms. Cooper is not liable for defamation. Ms. Cooper ultimately prevailed on Ms. Pete's leading accusation, defamation, and the jury awarded a nominal amount of damages compared to millions of dollars Miss Pete demanded from Miss Cooper throughout the course of the litigation. Juries are called to make difficult decisions on complicated questions of law and fact. While we do not agree completely with the jury's verdict, we respect its verdict, and we thank the jury for giving us their time and attention for more than 2 weeks. Miss Pete and her attorneys asked the jury to send a message to the community by awarding Miss Pete with an astronomical amount of damages, allegedly, they say, somewhere in the margin of $30 million. Indeed, the jury rejected Miss Pete's request and refused to send any such message as shown by the nominal damages. Miss Pete refused to send any... Hold on. Awarding Miss Pete with astronomical amount of damages. Indeed, the jury rejected Miss Pete's request and refused to send any such message as shown by the nominal damage. Okay, Miss Pete recovered. Evidently, the jury did not believe that Miss Cooper was the sole cause of Miss Pete's emotional distress, and that is reflected in their verdict. The jury's verdict also reminds us all that you cannot sue media defendants without providing the proper due process. We remain proud of the defense we presented, and of Miss Cooper's willingness to stand up for her voice. The broader questions about protecting online speech, defining the boundary between opinion and defamation, and safeguarding independent creators will continue to be critically important. Miss Cooper claims her rightful position as a new media commentator, talk show host, and personality. And they give you just a little footnote about the firm, about Acelia Law Firm, a law firm dedicated to defending the rights of those our society has rendered disposable. We fight for justice, integrity, and civil rights. We defend you. And that's also from the Bien Aime law firm, both of which represented Milagro in this trial. Okay? So they put this statement out there, basically, letting people know that Milagro would be alleviated on the defamation claim. That was a big topic of discussion yesterday because the verdict did, in fact, find Milagro liable for defamation. However, they also found her to be a media defendant. So there were some questions about how that was going to hold up, whether the defamation count was going to be dismissed or not. Ultimately, that defamation claim did get dismissed. All right. So that was the statement from Milagro's legal team. Now let's get to the statement from Megan's legal team. Now remember, this was issued yesterday. Today, the judge has entered her final verdict, and we're going to get to that right after this. So this was issued yesterday from Megan Thee Stallion's legal team, dated December 1st, 2025. Today, the jury that presided over Megan Thee Stallion's lawsuit against Milagro Gramz in the Southern District of Florida found defendant Milagro liable for all 3 counts: defamation, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and promotion of an altered sexual depiction for spreading false and harmful misinformation on social media. The jury found that Milagro deliberately harmed Megan with her malicious conduct on social media, resulting in the jury awarding Megan with $75,000. Okay, that was also a topic of discussion, whether it was going to be $75,000 or $59,000. Right now, with that defamation being knocked off, that would bring it down to $59,000. We'll continue. Additionally, under Florida law, Milagro's liability for reposting the deep fake pornographic video will also require her to reimburse Megan for legal fees. All right. So this is another area where people are curious. Will Milagro indeed have to pay Megan's legal fees? Because if that is true, then the damages of $59,000 would significantly increase. Okay. Furthermore, they state, we're thankful for the jury's commitment to reinforcing the importance of truth, accountability, and responsible commentary on social media. Megan's attorney, Mary Henderson, said, not only is Milagro being held accountable for paying Megan compensatory and punitive damages, but Florida's fee-shifting legal provision will require her to cover costs of Megan's legal bills on the deepfake claim. This verdict sends a clear message that spreading dangerous misinformation carries significant consequences. Contrary to public statements issued by Milagro's attorneys, the court has not issued a final judgment regarding the defamation count. The judge will make a final ruling and determine the entire financial amount that Milagro will be required to pay Megan, inclusive of legal bills and the defamation count at a later date, which did prove to be true. Megan's legal team has also submitted a formal letter to Milagro's team counsel, highlighting their blatant misrepresentation of the jury's verdict, noting they are continuing to post defamatory content and requesting they retract the comments immediately. So even as Megan took the win in court, they're still accusing Milagro and her team of posting misinformation and trying to shape a certain narrative before the courts can officially give us the court-mandated update. So here is final judgment from the judge, all right? No more opinions, no more press releases. This is what it is, okay? So, oh shit, hold on. So it says, final judgment. This cause came before the court for a jury trial. The issues having been duly tried, the jury rendered its verdict, finding defendant Milagro Elizabeth Cooper liable to plaintiff Megan Pete for defamation per se, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and promotion of an altered sexual depiction in violation of Section 836.13 Florida statutes, okay? So, formally, she was found liable on all three counts. However, we have to go off of the media defendant status. So the jury also rendered its verdict as to defendant's media defendant status, finding that defendant should be treated as a media defendant regarding the statements at issue. As a condition precedent to a defamation suit, Section 770.01 Florida statutes requires a plaintiff to serve a media defendant with written notice specifying the alleged false or defamatory statements at least 5 days before filing a complaint. Okay? So unfortunately, due to a technicality, the defamation has been compromised, okay? Because Milagro was found as a media defendant, the judge is saying that as a media defendant, Milagro should have been formally served with a cease and desist on any information that was seen to be defamatory. Now, we do know that Megan Thee Stallion, Roc Nation had issued public warnings online. Milagro was very much aware of Roc Nation and Megan Thee Stallion having public disputes with the information that she was putting out there. However, she was never formally served a cease and desist letter or any sort of, hey, we are pursuing legal action if you don't remove this within X amount of days, right? Or retract the statement or correct the information that you've put out into the world. So because of that, she didn't get written notice. Her defamation claim will be tossed. All right, that's what it is. So Florida statute requires a plaintiff serve media defendant with written notice specifying the alleged false or defamatory statements at least 5 days before filing a complaint. The jury's conclusion that defendant is a media defendant therefore precludes judgment for plaintiff on the defamation per se claim because it is uncontested that plaintiff did not provide defendant pre-suit notice. All right. So had Megan Thee Stallion and her legal team officially sent a cease and desist and a formal warning, then defamation would have still stood strong and it would have still been $75K. Which we're going to get into that $75K as well, because I see a lot of people out there stating that Megan Thee Stallion sued specifically for $75,000, and that is also not true. But let me get to page 2 of the judgment. Okay. In sum, the jury's verdict supports entry of judgment for plaintiff in her claims of intentional infliction of emotional distress and promotion of an altered sexual depiction. Plaintiff is entitled to $59,000 in damages, the amount of compensatory and punitive damages awarded by the jury on those two claims. So at this current time, $59,000 is the current total. Accordingly, it is ordered and adjudged as follows. And it's going to be recapped once more. Judgment is entered in favor of plaintiff Megan Pete on counts 2 and 3 of her second amended complaint and against defendant Milagro Elizabeth Cooper. Plaintiff shall recover from defendant a total of $59,000 in damages. Requests for costs and fees shall not be submitted until after post-trial motions are decided or an appeal is concluded, whichever occurs later. So this is to the nature of legal fees. Okay? We do not have that answer as of yet. There will be future hearings to come. The court retains jurisdiction to entertain the request for injunctive relief found in count 4 of the second amended complaint. Okay? Now remember, they went to trial on 3 counts. Megan and her legal team still have room to request for injunctive relief in count 4 of the second amended complaint, which I'm going to bring up the second amended complaint anyway to show y'all that the $75,000 narrative of Megan specifically asking for that amount is not true. So as we can see here, this is the second amended complaint. And it says the court has subject matter jurisdiction over the state law claims alleged herein under 28 U.S. Code 1332, diversity jurisdiction, and 28 U.S. Code 1367, because there is complete diversity between the parties. The amount in controversy exceeds the sum of $75,000 exclusive of interest, costs, and fees, and all the claims are so related that they form part of the same case or controversy under Article 3 of the United States Constitution. Okay? So the amount in controversy exceeds the sum of $75,000. I understand that some people saw that $75,000 in here and thought that was what she was asking for. That is incorrect. All right? And at the bottom of the second amended complaint, you can also see where it is left to the jurisdiction of the court to determine what should be the necessary relief. So here we're on page 38 of the second amended complaint. Jury demand, Ms. Pete requests a jury trial on all issues to be tried. Prayer for relief. Wherefore, Ms. Pete respectfully requests that this court enter judgment in an amount for all damages owed to Ms. Pete, including but not limited to compensatory damages, punitive damages, statutory damages, attorney's fees, costs, interest, and all other damages as are just and proper, as well as declaratory judgment to remedy defendant's unlawful behavior and an injunction to prevent further misconduct. So that is the ask from Megan Thee Stallion. Okay? She had a lot of damages in here that she wanted to recover, though there was no specific number. Again, people are alleging she was asking for $30 million. I cannot substantiate that as fact, but we do see here that she did not ask for $75,000 as a roundabout total. Now, what is count 4, right? Because in the judge's final verdict, they say that Megan can still pursue damages in count 4. So this is related to the cyber stalking injunctive relief. All right, Ms. Pete repeats and realleges paragraphs 1 through 88. Defendant has communicated both directly and indirectly a course of conduct designed to cause severe emotional distress to Ms. Pete as laid forth herein. She has done so through electronic means and therefore meets the definition of cyber stalking pursuant to section 784048 Florida statutes. Accordingly, she is entitled to an injunction against cyber stalking pursuant to 784045 Florida statutes. Ms. Pete incorporates by reference the attached affidavit as required by statute, wherefore Ms. Pete seeks an injunction restraining defendant from committing any acts of cyber stalking against her and providing any terms the court deems necessary for the protection of Ms. Pete, including any injunctions or directives to law enforcement agencies. Okay? So count 4 is still active. Megan can still pursue that for cyber stalking. I know a lot of people were wondering what the status of the cyber stalking piece was. And I would assume, and this is, I got to let y'all know where I'm making assumptions or opinions. I would believe that this is in relation to perhaps some form of gag order or something along those lines, you know, because if you say you don't want her to be able to commit acts of cyber stalking against her, then it would probably be something like you can't talk about me, you can't post about me, etc., etc. That's my assumption. We'll see where things go from here if Megan, in fact, pursues count 4. Now, I'm sure some people out there probably like, damn, J Nolan, it done took you 20 minutes to get to this motherfucking interview. Yes, it does. Okay? Because I want to try to cover this as effectively as possible. I want to go ahead and address the talking points that people are so actively talking about. You know what I'm saying? And just give y'all the black and white of it. We got through the opinion, we got through the verdict, and we got through the possible count 4 that Megan can pursue. So now we can get into the interview with Milagro and Armon where they can speak freely. But I just want to make sure that the important details are at the epicenter of the conversation, because a lot of times when people start talking, opinions get involved, narratives change, and people have selective memory about what's true and what's not. So let's just address that first. So now let's get into the conversation between Armon Wiggins and Milagro Gramz. Okay.
You did it. You went through it.
I went through it, and then God is good.
You know what? First of all, I'm just gonna say, girl, you one thing I'll tell you about you, you really did a great job speaking on that stand. Like you were
Thank you.
so articulate. You were so like, I don't know, you were a different person on that stand. I was impressed. I was
I'm a
really,
different
really
person in
impressed.
my day to day. You know, we get up and we have a show to do. It is for entertainment purposes. If people wanted to watch paint dry, they go to Home Depot, okay, and go and get in front of a damn wall. So we have a job to do, and I think that we deliver. And I think that I'm listening to these different people on your live, and they don't understand. You cheering about what's going on with me, nigga. All you niggas is about to be liable. You better watch your mouth, because if somebody can come at me for my opinions about things, what the hell you think you doing? And like, how easy would it be for me or anybody else to come against you? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they understand the bigger picture. Too many people are obsessed with humbling people that they feel like that they
Mm.
can't fuck with, or that they feel like has a big voice, or that they deem as what, the bully in school or what, I don't know. But there are too many people obsessed with a downfall
Mm-hmm.
of me or people like me, and I don't agree with that. And I want to say, in terms of this idea that I became too invested, I'm very invested in my community. Black men,
Mm-hmm.
black women, black children. You know, it said protect black women, and that was pushed to the public. I don't single out women. Our children deserve to be protected. Our black men deserve to be protected. Our black women deserve to be protected. So all I did was stand up for something that I believed in. Nothing less, nothing more. Anything about her family or anything else, babe, there's a video from Geneva's Closet, I believe. Go watch it, where they lay out the different things about her family and whoop whoop whoop. Y'all keep on trying to throw all this different shit on me when I have already addressed where things came from. Myron Gaines put out that police report initially. I wasn't looking for that. Karim said, reach out to me if you want to talk to me about what I'm asserting about what happened down in San Antonio. I didn't seek him out. You know, anything about her family, anything else, child, like I said, go to Geneva's Closet and watch that video. The same way people keep up with celebrities and do celebrity MTV cribs and shit like that. Stop acting like there was some type of particular interest taken in this person. No, it was not, and it was not that deep at all. So I think that people have a misconception because I'm a passionate speaker, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I talk hard and shit like that, but I don't think I should be penalized for who I am. You know what I'm saying? Especially when these people get up here and be so upfront about what they feel about me. Make it make sense.
Now, I do find it kind of interesting that you're trying to portray this whole new media thing and protect the creators, protect the voices, while simultaneously snitching on other people. Where's the protection? Damn. You know what I'm saying? But the thing of it is, and this is why, for me, all of this is very interesting, because as a commentator, as a platform, as an outlet that speaks on these things, It is very important to have discretion on what it is that you talk about and cover and how you talk about and cover these things. And you have to be a good steward of your brand and your platform. All right. Just because one person may get punished or another person may not does not mean that it can't happen to you. You know what I'm saying? And you just got to be very careful. Like they say, favor ain't fair, life ain't fair. It's all different types of adages out there about what's fair and what's not. She's basically trying to say, I got my information from these sources. But unfortunately, I'm quite sure those sources probably didn't go on a 5-year long campaign to find any and everything to malign this person, right? Some people say, well, what about you with the Drake story? I don't go out of my way to malign Drake. Drake goes out of his way to embarrass himself, right? And even when people push defamatory angles on Drake, where do you see me actually say any of those things and regurgitate them on my platform? If anything, I would say people are saying this is what's going on. This is the source that said this. But I myself have never called Drake a PDF. I've never said he's broke. I've never said anything about his family. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain things that you should have a certain respect line just on a human level, even if you hate the person, that you should uphold. That's just me putting it out there because I know it always inevitably comes up. They always want to lump everybody in a fucking pot together, and that pot is not going to be shared. All right, let's keep going though.
So I feel like
What did
today,
you think about the jury? Like, how do you think what made you? Because it took a long time though, so I felt like they were going back and forth. In your opinion, ultimately, what do you think made the jury go lean towards the favor of her? Like,
yeah, I think that they were going back and forth about all them questions. I think a lot was
mm,
left to the jury that should have been left to the judge. I think the judge should have made a ruling on the media defended thing. There were a lot of questions that those people had to answer. These are everyday people. So I respect and appreciate the time that they gave that were away from their families. And all I can do is say thank you for what they gave to it, regardless of if I agree or not. But
and
I,
also because I don't know, because I'm hearing 59K, 75K. Can you clear this up? Like, did they drop the defamation? Is it 59K? Like, was it
okay, so the
75K?
jury decided that I am a media defendant.
Amen.
Which means that ultimately they had said we would give 15,000 for the defamation. Okay, the
Mm,
overall sum was about 75. Well, because I'm considered a media defendant, that knocks off the defamation. So any headline you see that says that Megan won her defamation suit, that is incorrect. That is not correct because the media defendant status means I should have been served properly. They wanted to mark me as a social media grifter. I am not
mm.
that. The jury, which it was left to them, it was decided by her side that they would choose if I was that. And they said, yes, she is. So, with that being said, the defamation portion was lost.
Oh, officially.
The
So that's officially
the
lost.
per the jury as of right now, the
Okay.
judge, they're going to do what they want to do and file something and contest it. So the judge could come back and assert something. But how likely would it be that she would go against her previous ruling where she said let the jury decide and they decided and say no. So
Yes, I
at
was
this
there.
point, okay, right. So at this point, it is 59,000 because that is minus the 15 for defamation. Defamation was lost.
Now, are they saying that you're going to have to pay these legal fees? I'm seeing a lot of different things people are adding on to it. Are you going to have to pay lawyer fees? Like, is that a thing?
I'll have to see how that works moving forward. But for right now, the number is the 59.
Oh, well, girl,
I know that for
you can fundraise that tonight. The other thing is, I was gonna say, so there's the 59K. Okay. Can you not talk about her anymore? Were there any rules like that? Or is there like a gag order? Are you
no,
talking about her?
no. The gag order that was present during the case is over with now because the case has ended.
Mm-hmm.
There are no stipulations on that, you know? So if I want to move forward and discuss whatever, I can. Now, what I will tell you is I'm choosing not to, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Megan has branded herself as Regina George, which is supposed to be the ultimate bully. I'm really confused as to how she can get on raps and talk crazy and do this and do that. and then turn around and do something like this. But at the end of the day, um, she feels like, she's been hurt by different things, so I'm going to move forward without her as content. Life goes on. I've been under a gag order and have still had a show without commenting on her. That's not hard. I had a show before she was popular. I have a show moving forward, so it is going to be my choice to let her exist without me giving commentary on her. That's what I'm choosing to do, but there is no order that says I cannot speak about her or talk about this case or anything. No.
Deep now.
So Milagro says that she is electing not to speak any further about Megan Thee Stallion. So I'm guessing after she's done this interview, she now has a interview with CBS Miami that's actually supposed to be coming out this evening in full. Oh yeah, just to address that, if you've seen Tasha K say that Milagro sat down with Gayle King, let me know who you see in the interview with Milagro at 5 o'clock. I thought the person was Yvonne Taylor, but you be sure to let me know who you see. All right. Now, if she is to interview with Gayle King at a later time, that will be something else to discuss. But at this current time, I don't see any proof of that, but I'm just addressing it all in one fell swoop. But anyway, as far as her not continuing to talk about Megan, we'll see how that goes as well. Again, the judge did leave an open door for Megan to pursue injunctive relief on count 4, which is with the cyber stalking and alerting um, law enforcement agencies, etc. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So basically, what we learned is, although there was a jury verdict yesterday and a judge ruling finally today, there is still more to be evaluated. So there is nothing, we can only speak on the definites that have been submitted as of yet. We can't over speculate. We can't say that legal fees are guaranteed. We can't speak on any of that without that being put out by the courts. All right. So that's where things stand. We're going to continue.
Now, did you feel targeted, like in any way, because they kept bringing up Aiden Ross, academics, Joe Budden, and all these other people? Why do you feel like it was you?
I think that a lot of people believe that there was some type of relationship of a sexual nature with Tori.
Mm.
And I think that as she said in her own words, she's a woman and she did not like my photographs with his father and with him and stuff like that. So people got up and testified that they've been hearing about me being sued since January of 2024. I absolutely feel like I was targeted. There are bigger platforms that have said much more. I'm hearing people say, well, other platforms didn't go as hard. That is not true. There have been people who have consistently spoken about this case, consistently spoken about their viewpoints, and that's been ever present in this space. So I definitely feel targeted in that way. But it is what it is, because we all
Mm.
have to own what we do. So at the end of the day, I think the biggest win was for new media to be
Yes.
recognized as new media, and for us to solidify that space. That is the biggest thing, because going
A
into
lot
the
of people did not want you to get that. I'm telling you
of
this. There
course
was a
they did, but
lot of
to their own
journalists that did
detriment.
not want you to
Understand?
have that. They did not
We
want you to have
deserve
that.
that. You done set up and pay for all that equipment. You working hard. You spending your money. You're going out. You're taking notes and you're reporting. Why don't you get to do that? Because they want to gatekeep. So this was a win for us, whichever way you want to spin it. This was big for us. So I'm grateful. New media is here and we're being recognized. And now that is solidified.
Yeah, it is respected as the fact that,
And
hey,
it will
you
be
can't just throw
respected.
out you can't just throw out a lawsuit. We are protected by the same media, protections. So, and they have to give that to us. So I thought that was huge because, this is different from the Tasha K case where it just was like, these new media people are just complete liars and trash and all of this. At least you did come
Right.
out with some sort
Right.
of win and respect, you
Right.
know. And so
Right.
I thought that was good. I thought that was good. Now let me ask you this: when we were in court, like, did like sitting in there seeing Megan, you were doing this. I got two questions. When you would hear the audio of you going like, and they playing it loud like that, like when you would hear that shit, like what would you be thinking? Like when they would play that, when you would be carrying on like that, how did you
You know what I was
feel?
thinking? That child, they ain't gonna get it. I'm sitting up here thinking it's a celebrity sitting in here. They gonna think I'm so mean and so this and so that because they don't understand. Um, so it was difficult because you do commentary.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like you can understand. It don't be that deep. We're doing commentary and talking about it. We might get a little theatrical in the way that we expressing it, this
Mm-hmm.
and that, but it don't. You turn it off and you're going about your business. I do think that we have generational gaps, and I felt like, child, they sitting up here listening to this shit. They ain't about to get it. They finna think I'm crazy as hell. So I was kind of covering my ears, like, oh Lord, this
Yes,
now bad,
and the
honey.
way that they would crop that,
The
girl, I
way
was
they
like,
was clipping it though,
"Ooh."
exactly. So
The
I
way that
definitely
they
felt
was
like, sure,
cropping
this
that, I
don't
was like,
sound
"Girl, she
good,
out of
baby.
here." Now, let me ask you this other question.
So I want to get into this real quick with this whole new media thing, with her, I guess, cringing at her own commentary being clipped up in court for a jury and in front of a judge. Um, I feel two ways about this, right? Um, do I consider myself new media? No. Um, do I consider myself old media? I can't. But I think media has always been a part of what's going on in the culture, especially as it pertains to hip hop. Um, and the standard of becoming media isn't necessarily all that high. Like you can get into events for free. As long as you have a camera, a website of some sort, you could get into like rap events and stuff like that for damn near free, if not discounted. You know what I'm saying? You take a few photos, you post about the event, you got up in that bitch, you had a good time, and that's what it was, right? Clearly, independent journalism or independent media pundits or whatever you want to call yourself are getting into these courtrooms and giving their coverage and stuff like that. All of that is fine and dandy. It's well and good, right? And you can identify that as new media, you know, people who are independently running their own thing. But at the same time, I do think that there has to be a level of responsibility. And when you enter the media space at any level, you have to function with a certain level of respect for this thing that you're entering into, right? Now, perhaps my perspective of this is different because I come from being an artist, right? So I come from having an immense amount of respect for a craft, right? Where it's like before y'all knew who I was as J Nolan, I was rapping, I was on stages, I was traveling, I was releasing music, I was going through that entire circuit. So by the time y'all found out who I was, I had already done X amount of things. I've written for this person, that person. I've got music in this TV show. I've gotten music over here. I've done this festival. I've done that. I've done Hot 97. I did this place. I did this place. So when I speak about hip hop, it's coming from a place of ultimate respect, right? When I speak about the participants in hip hop, even if I don't like you, even if I think your music is absolutely garbage, I still speak about everybody with a certain level of respect because I know what it takes in order to get anywhere in this shit. If you can do something for 10 years plus, I don't give a fuck if you're producing absolute garbage. It's going to require a certain amount of work that other people will not be privy to. Those days out on the road, time spent away from your family, your kids, eating like shit in order to pursue a dream, that shit is valid. So you're not going to get me on here disrespecting people in this space. I give that same respect to other forms of entertainers as well. Unless you do something absolutely heinous, right? That's another story. But I think that's where the distinction lies between people who understand that they're upholding a certain level of integrity, a certain level of respect to what it is that they're doing, and others who just kind of jump in and freeball it until they have to find out otherwise. Hey, you're gonna have to function with a certain level of respect for what it is that you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I understand that you may jump into character, but shit, you better reel that motherfucking character in, Vince McMahon, because that shit can be held against you. And I think people are learning the hard way, especially in recent years, about taking that character thing so far. You get so caught up in your own whatever, your own hubris, flying too close to the sun, and then the motherfucking wings melt. And then what?
Okay.
Sitting there, and
Mhm.
Megan Thee Stallion is there,
Mhm.
and she's on the stand, and she says, "I don't think Milagro is a good person. I think she's a bad person."
Oh.
Like, how did you like? You know what I mean? Like, did that make you feel like, damn, you really think I'm a bad person? Like, you know what I mean? How did that make
You
you
know what you got to do?
feel?
You got to consider your source. So I wish I would take something she said and let it make me feel away. Child, please.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it meant nothing to me. My children know I'm a good person. The people in my life know I'm a good person. The people that support me know I'm a good person. A lot of people say a lot of things about her, So shit. An opinion in a
Mm.
sea of many.
Well, I think that, and shout out to your legal team. You know, I gave a
Shout out
lot
to
of
my
them a
legal
hard
team,
time.
the new dream team,
Yeah,
Johnny
yeah.
Cochran, who
I know I was giving them a little bit of hell, but they came through. They did what they could.
he
And
ate
that
that up, didn't he?
Jeremy's a motherfucking beast. Okay,
He's a
you tell
bad
that
motherfucker, ain't
motherfucker
he?
he's a motherfucking beast.
He is. He
But
went
yeah.
him and the other young ladies, Laisa and Natasha. You got Laisa Patet and you got Natasha the enemy. They came
Hmm.
through and they went up
Hmm.
against a machine.
They
Everybody
did,
felt
and they
like
were young and black
young and black and last minute and not paid. So
and not
imagine these
paid.
people working day and night tirelessly because they believe in something.
Hmm.
So they came, they went up against a machine. There were over 15 lawyers against me on the other side. So for them to even sway the jury enough to get them to be reasonable with the fees that they put, that is a feat. I feel like people are overlooking what just happened, you know?
Hmm.
Pay attention to that amount and then them deciding I was a media defendant. They had to go and prove I was a media defendant. And they did
Yes,
that. And I think
they
that was
did
the
that.
biggest thing. They did that.
I'm gonna be honest
Exactly.
with you. The reason why it even got to the jury, because you guys had proved to the judge that you were a media defendant, and she was going to rule that
The
day
judge,
that
a
you
lot
were
of
a
people
media
don't know
defendant.
that. A
But
lot of
but
a lot of
Megan's
these
team was
guys,
like, oh no, we got to leave it up to the jury, because they was like, this the
they
way
were
that judge
afraid.
was coming. She, yes, and then
She
Megan's
changed her
lawyer,
mind.
he was asleep the first week, but somehow y'all had woke his ass up, and he had like got up there that second week and started like, all right,
Okay.
I got to get it together. And they, because at the first time they just kind of felt like they had it in the bag, I felt, and
They did.
then
I definitely feel like the team was underestimated, and
yeah.
I'm ecstatic about what they did. They are phenomenal, and make sure y'all go and look them up if y'all need some legal representation because the way that they were able to come through and cushion this blow and to get the jury to see things for what they were, even if some people feel like it was a loss, I feel like they did a phenomenal job. Like I said, I was able to be recognized as media
Mm-hmm.
by the jury. And the numbers that they gave could have been astronomical. We've seen judgments that were in the millions. That is
Girl, you
not
will
what was
recover from
received.
this, even if it's 100,000. You will. It ain't no millions and multiple
It's not
millions and millions of dollars,
exactly.
boo.
And then
Like,
that's
girl,
why
I'll
God is
take the
so good.
59K all day long and wipe my ass and keep it pushing. It's no shade.
Now, as it stands, that is $59,000. However, we will hear in the future, as I've already detailed, but I want to just keep reiterating. We're going to have people jumping in and out and catching portions that although the total is currently $59,000, there is still going to be possible injunctive relief on count 4 for cyber stalking, and there will also be a case made for legal fees. And the talk is that Megan paid over $1 million. That's just a estimate. We don't know the exact number. Possibly $2 million on her legal team that Milagro could possibly be on the hook for. All right. So that is also on the table. We'll just have to see at a later date how that will be ruled on by the judge.
They did a
Like, girl.
phenomenal job. They really did.
So, okay, last thing, and I'll let you go. Is
hmm
there anything that you have learned from this, or would you do anything differently?
Absolutely. I've learned a lot, and I think it's going to be imperative to go do that leg work, so that I can be respected in different space. I think we all need to do it in terms of
Hmm.
whatever courses we need to take or whatever we need to do to make sure we have the other side of it, knowing how to move as journalists because we're multifaceted. So
Hmm.
I think that we're good on the entertainment side, but there are
Hmm.
some code of ethics that I think that we need to learn and get into. So I'm definitely gonna do that. I think there's a way to do everything. And I learned that maybe change the way that I approach situations. Like, I'll never be in this situation again. I'll put it to you like that.
Yeah. But
Definitely.
I think
But I'm
because,
not sorry for standing up for something I believed in. I'm very proud of that.
as you should, and and that was my thing. Me, you and I did not agree during the trial, but at the same time, that was your opinion, and I feel like
Right.
you are allowed to have that.
And there's
You
something
get what I'm saying?
dangerous about being put in a position where someone in closing argument says, stop asking questions once this comes down. We have a right to ask questions. And there's so many people gung ho about something negative happening towards me. What you need to be paying attention to is the precedent that they're trying to set with coming at people for asking questions.
I don't know anybody who is literally condemning the act of asking questions. All right. Now y'all feel free to enlighten me in the chat and in the comments. I'm sure you will. But when it comes to asking questions, I think there's one thing. You can privately ask questions. You can ask whatever questions you want. I mean, people out here question if God is real, if the earth is round or flat. People ask questions all the time, right? And you can publicly ask questions. I think that there's nothing wrong with asking questions. However, when you take those questions and you present an alternative thought as if it's true because you have questions, I think that is where things get shaky. You can't just assert a truth because you don't believe something and then assert it as absolute. That is misinformation. Some would even say disinformation, which is a step above misinformation because you're willfully doing it on purpose versus having a lack of knowledge and speaking ahead of turn. So I think those are the fine lines that people, because of this situation, because of the Tasha K, because of the nosy hole with Nicki Minaj thing, people are becoming more aware of how to maneuver in this space. But these are not necessarily new questions. You know what I'm saying? It's just that now that people have the ability to take it upon themselves to become whatever you want to be, and I think that's great. I think that in this world, you should have the ability to be or become whoever you want to be an entrepreneur, to be a business owner, to be a work from home commentator, to do whatever it is. If it works out for you, awesome. But again, you still have to have a certain level of responsibility with what it is that you're doing. And if you don't do it on your own, somebody will enforce it. It comes with the game. Just like you don't know how to pay some people don't know how to pay taxes when they go into entrepreneurship, right? That doesn't mean that you don't pay. It just means if you don't pay, it will catch up to you eventually. And they may let you go for years unpaid where you feel like shit. They ain't saying nothing. And then boom. Nigga said something and niggas trying to do something. So again, these are all the fine lines that are being presented.
That's dangerous. You should be able to get up and talk about things and raise questions to different things. So I'm ecstatic at the fact that the jury saw that we deserve a space there. That
All
what we
right.
do is not grifting.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with that too.
Yeah, that's the biggest
So
thing.
will you be back online? So what's going on? We all got into the station head stuff. Do you think that contract will be back now, or like what happens next?
I don't know about station head, but what I do know is I will be going back to work,
Okay.
and getting back to it, to what I do. Megan won't be a part of the commentary, and moving forward, I think it's just important to just be mindful. I think that I don't know, it's a tough spot to be in. Like I said, you have someone parading around as Regina George, and different people getting bullied and talked about online. So I think that's kind of upside down to try to come at somebody a particular type of way or going your raps and talking hard and stuff like that. But
Now, keep in mind, rap music is literally an art form. It is a form of creativity. The rappers, I mean, if we ain't never known in 2025 going into 26, the rappers are all characters. Most of them don't go by their actual real government name. So yeah, rappers are gonna put out machismo. They're gonna put out uh ultimate confidence. They're gonna give you glimpses of their real self. They may tell you some stories about their real life mixed in with, some rhetorical hyperbole, the word of the year, you know, and that's just what it is. But there's still a human element. And when you attack the human behind the artist, you expect that person to what? Just allow it? Just to brush it off like it's nothing? I don't agree with that piece. Now, again, some people may say, well, what about the Drake lawsuit, dog? We done talked about the Drake lawsuit for a year. We know that shit was bullshit, bro. Nigga engaged in a rap battle, lost a rap battle, said, if I can't win here, let me take it to court. He went to court, he lost again. Stop using a fucking losing argument to make a losing argument. It's dumb. All right? Now, I don't want to spend too much more time on this shit. There's much more to go, but I think you pretty much get the gist. I also want to get to the deep fake thing, though. So let me fast forward and just get to that so we can hear how Milagro feels about that piece.
The biggest claim was defamation. They did not win that. And I did not share a video. I said, go to my likes. So everybody also needs to be mindful of that. As people doing commentary, when all these different things are happening, nude or not, we talk about these things sometimes. So to take that and to make that promotion, I felt like it was really, really dangerous. And I think that's iffy too, but I have to own it. You know, it is what it is. They ruled how they did, so I gotta eat that. But did I share a video? No, I didn't. I said go to my likes. That's what I said. So that's dangerous as well.
But that's
But that's
amplifying.
kind of sharing it though. I mean, I would have took that as sharing. I ain't gonna hold you.
Yeah.
The jury
Promoting it.
agreed with you.
Yeah.
Look, so that's why I said I gotta
Yeah,
eat
I'd
it.
have took
It
out
is
of
what it
yeah,
is.
girl. Yeah, I
And the
can't.
other layer of that was, should I have reasonably known it was fake? Why
Mm.
would I have reasonably known it was fake? It looks real. She acknowledged it looked real herself. So, you know,
Okay, so let's
I
be
gotta eat it.
careful.
It is what it is.
Okay,
But
let's
yeah.
be careful here. I don't want to make light of the fact that that video, because of the type of video it was,
Mm.
I would put myself in a mind of a juror, and had that been me, I'm gonna be 52 hot.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
always felt like they was gonna get there, but y'all did a good job almost, getting me to think like, oh, y'all gonna get from under this deep fake when they showed how you were surprised and reacting to it. But that go to my likes was like, ugh,
yeah,
I just knew they was gonna get you on that. That's how I felt. I just knew it.
So, with that said, Milagro, will you stay away from those type of videos in your content creation and sharing or promoting or whatever? Is that something that you can say today you will not do?
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I'm a let the internet do what it does because they'll continue to be interested in stuff like that. That won't stop today. Kim Kardashian is famous, right? Okay, so no, I won't touch those type of things again. Um, but I mean, child, the world moves on. And then somebody say you're only trending because of her. Shouldn't she be trending, not me? Y'all more obsessed with me in the situation than anything else. That's what I keep relaying to y'all. We should not be put into a situation where we shrink
mm,
ourselves for people that don't understand us.
hmm
I think that's why my platform is so important and why so many everyday people relate to it because they feel seen. We are consistently told we need to talk like this, walk like this, do this. Where are our spaces where we can cut
hmm
up how we cut up? Where is that at? So I don't think we need to shrink ourselves. I just think that sometimes people get fixated. I honestly feel like I was targeted because of my connection to the family. Nothing less, nothing more. That's why if it was balanced, baby, you would have had Joe Budden up there. You would have had Aiden Ross up there. You would have had academics up there. You would have had a slew of people up there because Milagro was not the only one that had questions.
Do
So
you let me I'm gonna be honest with you. I was disappointed in Sunstar's deposition, in Tory Lanez, and Caesar. I feel like they didn't do anything to help you. I feel like I feel like it was very selfish. I feel like you were out there on a limb and they pretty much didn't help you. I mean, what is their relationship like now? Are you still cool with Sunstar? Y'all still has he called you? This
I
is
got a phone call right when you asked me that question. For anybody that
oh
felt like I couldn't answer, child.
oh
Hold
you
on. I think that you have a right to feel that way. There were a lot of people that had expectations from those different parties that wanted them to respond a particular way. Um, I don't think you're wrong in your feelings, but I want everybody to remember that anything you say can and will be used against you. So if
okay.
he's still going through his process, and if he feels like this some underhanded shit anyway, I don't want to give anything to it. What is he supposed to do? Whatever he feels like in his best interest and not add to a situation. So he has to consider what he's going through on his own. I have to be accountable for my position in different things, and I have to own that. The whole thing is I didn't get up at the behest of anybody, so I wasn't looking to anybody to save me in that
Got it.
regard. Of
Got it.
course, it would have been nice for people to simply say, no, it ain't this or that. But in
Mhm.
my opinion, people had their minds made up anyway. Y'all believe what y'all been saying that we had a sexual relationship from the jump,
Mm.
literally. So y'all wanted to believe it. That's what y'all didn't believe. That's what y'all done made it. So shit, would it have mattered? No, it honestly wouldn't have. So he got up and did what he did, and that's on him. And God bless him on his journey. But I have to own my own shit. So I'm not looking to Daystar or anybody else because Daystar nor anyone else had me up anywhere saying anything. But I will say I felt targeted and I felt like my team was underestimated. And it was like, let's go after this person because it's easy. And to me, that's just lowbrow to me.
So
So wait, let me ask you this, Margot. Do you think you did anything wrong in this thing?
I think that I've learned a lot of lessons and I will move differently moving forward.
So
I only
you
want to
didn't do
talk about people who can
okay.
handle what they dish out.
Okay.
Amen.
So you didn't do nothing wrong.
I didn't say that. I said I learned
Okay.
a lot. I learned a lot. And if I had been served a cease and desist or reached out to, then I would have been privy to the fact that someone felt a way in their real life. Once again, I'm
Mm.
doing commentary and content for entertainment purposes. So had I known, celebrities have come to me before about different things, and we didn't got that cleared up. So if she respected us in our position enough to have done that, we wouldn't even be here today. But because she feels like she's up here and we're down here, she didn't feel the need to do that. Okay. But had I known that I was more impactful to her than Nicki Minaj and Drake and everyone else, then I would have handled things differently. I'm not a wicked witch. So yeah, it's not that I don't think I did anything wrong. I was unaware of the impact that this was allegedly having on this person in their real life because I wasn't going to bed with it. So I wish that they would have followed the proper protocol. Absolutely.
and you
There
would
was
have
a
corrected
man
it.
that got on the stand and he broke down in tears and he said that you single-handedly had him doxing me, Tasha K, Storm Monroe, and
No,
you would pit him up and do your dirty work.
he's a lying
What
sissy.
happened with that?
Yeah,
And you tried to out
he wanted
him.
me to lie and say that he wasn't a homosexual. I stayed out of it. He felt unprotected. He got up there and acted a damn fool. And he will have to answer to God about that. I was heartbroken that he would get up there and lie like that, but that's what he chose to do is get back to me. And yeah,
Hey,
I mean, that's it.
maybe you can sue him and
I wouldn't
sue
even
for.
waste my time.
All right, people. That is the Milagro interview with Armon Wiggins. And we also got a couple additional questions in there from Dennis Bryant. But you can deduce from that what you will in terms of her tone of voice and the answers that she gave back. Does she feel like she learned anything? Um, all of that I'll leave in your hands. All right. Now, as it pertains to that deep fake thing, right? She still maintains that she didn't promote anything or share anything. Despite the go to my likes, she deliberately liked it at the time. It was very well known that likes were public, and it was a sort of promotion thing that was being done within the Twitter ecosystem. She utilized it. She told people to go check it out in her likes. She also did a live stream in which she displayed a redacted version and literally was telling people that she was willing to sell the contents of it for $20. So the unredacted version would have been in exchange for that $20. I don't understand how you can say you didn't promote it, but that's the stance that she maintains. Now, again, as it pertains to things of, let's just say, a not safe for work nature. Again, this is something that you have to understand as a so-called media person or whatever you want to be, commentator, analyst, whatever the fuck, right? Like, think about this. When the video of Tory Lanez being allegedly stabbed, or we'll just say stabbed in the joint, right? We talked about it over here. Did I show it? Nope. I said, y'all can find that anywhere online. We're not playing it over here. Again, this is why discretion is so important. I'm not a fan of Tory Lanez. I don't particularly like Tory Lanez and his character as a person. But just because something bad happened to him or something bad got out about him doesn't mean that I'm going to run to load it up on my channel and be like, look at what happened to him. He got stabbed up and yapped. Nope, not me. You know what I'm saying? And that is, again, just having human decency and respect as a human being. Also protecting your platform, because you don't just have to answer to that human being. You also have to answer to the powers that be that run these platforms, who can feel like you are contributing to, harmful content, and they could strip you of your ability to create and upload and release and ultimately monetize and make a living from doing this. So you got to protect your shit at all costs, man. And again, perhaps she'll learn, perhaps she won't. This has nothing to do with me. I'm just reporting on what's going on. But again, y'all let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If you have any questions concerning where the case currently stands and you jumped in later, do yourself a favor, rewind back, because the first 20 to 25 minutes of the show, we talked about where things currently stand from a legal aspect. All right. Now, again, to reiterate before I go, Megan Thee Stallion will have the opportunity to pursue injunctive relief on count 4, cyber stalking. Cyber stalking was not up for debate in court. All right. So she can pursue that. And there will be further updates on whether or not Megan Thee Stallion will be able to recover legal fees, which are rumored to be in the upwards of $1 to $2 million. Okay. So we have not heard the last of this situation yet. And when we do, I'll be back here to let y'all know. All right. Much love and respect. I'll see y'all later. Peace. Yeah. Family over fame in this bitch. Yeah. The glory of living righteous is setting in. My street knowledge and education's a perfect blend. Young mogul, independent, I've been setting trends. The first one from my family to be faithfully wed. Fuck niggas and the horses that they riding on. I see this shit from all angles like a polygon. I'll never politic and the drama be piling on. Father and great son acknowledged like I'm Bobby Bonds. Conversation with my lady about the paper route. 5 sit bank accounts every day I make it count. They down talking my commentary for hating now. Well, I can take it cause I'm bodying your favorite now, please. I could do this shit in my sleep. I been writing for these niggas, y'all read it and weep. I been fighting these niggas if you speak on the street. I'll turn your birthday party into New Year's Eve. Don't let me take it there. We ain't playing fair. This the ATL, Southside nigga moving furniture like Wayfair. Life on hold, no insurance for your healthcare. Lifeline gone, so you wanna be a millionaire? Well, let me tell you about this world I built. The women I dodged, the niggas that I ran for filth. The sympathy calls, consulting for the stacks I built. I had to